Bit overcast this morning, but we've had such changeable weather over the last few days. I woke up to the most amazing sunrise a couple of days back, um, and now we've just last night and yesterday we had Storm Amy, which brought horrendous winds and quite a bit of rain. So yeah, it's been a bit changeable. Today it's sunny periods. 1 5 minutes the sun seems to be shining. Next 5 minutes it becomes overcast. So but it is supposed to be a little bit of an improvement over the next few days. So yeah, fingers crossed from that point of view. So where am I? Well, I've come up to Stoke Hammond, which is not far from Milton Keynes, place I know, which is alongside the canal here. It's basically just a long lay-by, but yeah, there's guys that are on their narrowboat sometimes park their cars or vans here as well. So yeah, it's a pretty good place to park up for a night or two. It's quite quiet. There is a road literally next to us, but of an evening it goes really quiet and you don't hear anything, so you sleep pretty well. It's interesting because I've only seen one boat effectively trug past the windows of the van. I'll go out in a moment and I'll show you exactly where I am in the canal. But it's interesting because I woke up, was having breakfast, sitting here, and I saw a boat chug along, and then about probably half an hour or so later, the same boat come chugging back in the opposite direction. And it just reminded me of that this last couple of years before I bought this motorhome in May. I lived on a narrowboat, and it brought back a few memories. And I think it really has reinforced my decision to come back to van life, because yeah, at the end of the day, I really enjoyed living on the boat, lots of space, etc., etc. But it is ultra slow. It's the only way I can put it, really. I mean, this chap this morning obviously wanted to turn the boat round. Now, you've got a camper van, motorhome, whatever, and you're in a lay-by like I'm at the moment. You can literally pull away, get a few yards up towards the end of the lay-by, pull out and go left or right wherever you want to go. With a narrowboat, it really isn't that easy. So he chugged along, and as I say, obviously he wanted to turn the boat round. So he might have had to go a mile or more along the canal to find what we call a winding hole, where you can spin the boat round and then come back on yourself. Now, I don't know this stretch of canal very well, so I don't know quite how far you had to go, but you know, I've been in situations on the boat where you might have had to have gone 4 or 5 miles in order to find a place to turn around. Now, with locks and the way the canal system is, although your maximum speed is 4 miles an hour, in reality it's probably nearer 2.5, something like that. So you've got a 5 mile trek to go and turn your boat round. You're talking maybe a couple of hours, and then you've got to come back, obviously. So that's puts it a little bit into perspective with regards to the flexibility of the narrowboat. And of course, the other problem is that we've had a really dry summer, and I know for a fact that a lot of the canals have had real major water problems, to the point that some canals have been literally drained of water. The reservoirs that feed the canals have been very low in water, so they've had to sort of stop the water from going into the canals to preserve the water, obviously for drinking water. When I had the boat, I was what they classed as a continuous cruiser, which meant that I could go along the canal system, I could pull up in places and stay up to a maximum of 14 days with no problems at all, not getting moved on. But of course, if you're in a situation where there's no water, you can't move. And if you happen to have been somewhere, quite a distance from either a winding hole or maybe shops and supermarkets, you can imagine, could be in the canal, the water goes down, you can't move because the canals are only probably a metre deep at best, probably not even that, to be honest. And so it doesn't take a lot for the water to go down when your boat's touching the bottom. And if you get obviously a situation where there is no water in the canal, not only are you on the bottom, but because of the very shape of the boat and the way the canals were built a couple of hundred years ago, they're not flat. The narrow boats tend to be quite flat underneath, but not all. But certainly the canals are not normally flat on the bottom. They're slightly curved the way they were built, which means that if there's no water, your boat settles and it goes over at an angle. So if that's your permanent residence, your where you live, you're living in a situation where you're cranked over a few degrees, so it's difficult from that point of view. You might be nowhere near where you can get water, and equally you could be a fair distance from the nearest shops or supermarkets in order to get supplies and food. So yeah, it all put that into perspective, and yeah, coming back into van life, yeah, we all know what the UK's like with regards to van life these days. There's more and more restrictions, but yeah, there's still places you can park up, and you do have that flexibility, being able to get up and move when you want to and go where you want to quite quickly. So yeah, it's it's interesting to look at the two, sitting here watching the canal, and then, as I say, watching the boat go past and then bringing back all those memories. But let me take you out and I'll show you where I am and a little bit of the canal. So, as you can see, it's the canal. Not really a great deal to see because of the trees, obviously. But yeah, if I pan round a little bit, you can see it goes off in that direction as well. And you can see the sun's trying its best to come out and give us a bit of warmth. But it is quite chilly this morning, it's got to be said. So yeah, this is where I parked up last night. I'm probably going to stay here tonight as well, and then move on and find somewhere else from there. Only downside at the moment is I'm under the tree, so I'm not getting really a great deal of solar. So yeah, I might try and get out for a little walk along the canal. I've got to go a little bit down the road from where I am because I'm on the sort of opposite bank of the canal, so the tow path is actually on the far side of the canal, so I'm probably going to have to walk up a little way in order to get to a bridge where I can cross over and then go for a walk. We'll see a little bit later on. Okay, so the last of my expenses, I hope, but I'm having to put a new set of tyres on. When I bought the motorhome, they fitted new tyres and they've only done about 4,000 miles. But unfortunately, when they fitted a new steering joint, they didn't do the tracking. So the front two tyres got scrubbed off. And I've had to put those on the back, decent ones on the front. But I've now decided to change completely and have a new set all round. So that's what they're going to do this afternoon here at Tyres Direct. So these are my new tyres, looking good. Road Cruiser RA 1100 all terrains. Yeah, quite pleased with that. The writing's in blue at the moment, but with the jet wash that will come out in white, so they'll stick out a bit better. So yeah, pleased. So good morning. It's another miserable day, grey and overcast, but there you go. Yeah, it's time to move on, find somewhere different, even if it's only for a few days. So yeah, I've been speaking to a friend, Roy, who's parked up near me, and we've decided that we're going to go up towards Ashbourne, Derby, Buxton, that sort of area, see what we can find. So yeah, going to set off after lunch, and it's a couple of hours drive, and hopefully we'll find somewhere nice to park up for a few days. Weather's not supposed to be particularly good today, but there is some sunshine in the forecast for the next few days, so yeah, hopefully it will be a little bit north of us as well and we can enjoy some decent weather. It's been really quite miserable, to be honest, the last few days. It's just been so grey. I mean, it's not been wet, we've had no rain, but it's just dismal and miserable, and yeah, so it'd be good to get on the road and get away for a little bit. So yeah, I'll take you along with me, see how we get. Yeah, so as we're getting off, I'm going to check the oil, make sure everything's as it should be. As it should be. got a ferry booked to go to Spain in December, middle of December, and so I shall be giving a good service to the motorhome before we go, changing the oils, etc. But yeah, just checking it for now. Yeah, spot on. So yeah, that's good. I like to change my oil more frequently than they suggest in the handbooks. I don't know. I've always had the opinion that with the diesel engine, if you regularly change the oil and frequently, it will keep going and stand you in good stead for the future. So just making another check. Yeah, brake fluid, power steering fluid, etc, etc. I've got one mounting point for my intercooler radiator that's looking a bit worse for the wear, so I'm going to have to replace that very shortly. But other than that, yeah, all look good, which is great. So as I said, today is really overcast and grey, miserable, depressing, but this is where I park up quite frequently. There's the motorhome. So yeah, looking forward to getting out for a drive this afternoon after lunch. Okay, so we're on the motorway on the M1 and we're heading north. I'm going to go up to what is actually a new thing for me. We looked on Park4Night and there's a new sort of section there called Geospot. Never seen them before. So just for the sake of it, we're going to go and have a look. And this particular one is not too far from Ashbourne, so that's where we're headed. So Roy's behind me at the moment. We've topped up with LPG for the tanks, and yeah, good to go. It's going to be interesting, these new sites. Are new to me. I've never stayed at one before, and apparently they worked on like a donation thing. When you arrive, you have to find the geo box and then register with that number, and then when you leave a donation in the box for the landowner. So yeah, obviously quite basic campsites, fields, etc. But yeah, just be something worth trying. So we've arrived at this new Geo spot. First time I've stayed at one of these, as I said before. But yeah, it's quite a pleasant spot. It's not too far from Ashbourne. Obviously it's a farm of some description. And there's this little field here where we've managed to park up. And then over there is the check-in point. I'll show you. Yeah, so this is where you check in. Basically, this is a secure sort of letterbox, for want of a better description, and you've got the number there. So when you arrive, what you need to do is go onto the Park4Night app for this spot, and then it asks you to put in the code, which is obviously on this occasion 1112. Asks you to confirm it, and then it actually tells Park4Night and presumably the owner of the field that there is somebody, you know, parked up. And then when you leave, you put a donation in the box. Effectively, you can stay for up to two nights, and all they ask you to do is, if you're leaving before 12, then it's fine. But if you want to stay a second night, you need to actually go and register for a second night by midday. And that's it. Yeah, so brilliant. So as I said, that's where we're parked. Lovely views out over the countryside. Very tranquil. Can hear a tiny little bit of road noise, but hardly anything. So yeah, good place for the night. Good morning. Well, you can see that misty sun behind me. It is quite cold this morning. Let me show you. So waking up to a really misty morning. Sun's just coming up. Mist is supposed to be burning off this morning and the sun's coming out, but yeah, quite chilly this morning so far. Yeah, so these first few days of a little trip up towards Ashbourne have been going well. We've now decided to go across towards Castleton and Mamtor, some lovely little park ups over there as well. Yeah, so it's all going really well. Wish the weather was a bit better, but it's not too bad, I suppose. So yeah, I'm not going to make this one too long, so I'm going to end this one here. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't, and hit the like button. If you've got any comments, leave them in the section below. Thanks a lot. See you next time.